Hi, I'm Sue Bateman. I'm Deputy Director for Data and Innovation in the newly established Central Digital and Data Office, which is in Cabinet Office. And I head up the data science community as part of the digital data and technology function. That's the DDAT function. So, a day in the life of my current role is really varied. So my role within the CDDO is around data and innovation. So, I'm responsible with my team for helping government make better use of data, and that involves things like cross-cutting policies, cross-cutting legislation to help departments share data more easily, setting standards around data, thinking about data ethics when we're using data, and helping to build capability. So it's a wide range of things. And my day to day is probably quite typical of a normal day in my role. So I've got a recording. I quite often am invited to roundtables and panel sessions with external colleagues and internal to government. I've got a steering board this afternoon for the Data Standards Authority, which is looking today at helping us get a new strategy and some new standards endorsed to be used across government. I've got a few internal meetings, one of which is kind of future facing, looking at what we do around AI and potentially an AI strategy for government. And then finally, looking at some documents and helping the team review some kind of new policies that they've been developing. So we're really varied. So my career journey, I don't think when I set out, I would imagine myself being in a role as a senior data specialist, because back eons ago, I studied French and German at university. And then after university, I went and lived in Japan for 3.5 years, where I taught English. And I came back to the UK, and I decided that I wanted to pursue a career in the public sector, in the civil service. And I started life as a policy generalist in the Cabinet Office, working on senior civil service pay and performance. And I did a variety of roles as a policy maker to get experience of briefing, working with ministers, working in private offices, running ministerial and parliamentary business. And somewhere along the line, I started to take on policy roles that were slightly more technical in nature. So the first thing that I did was working with colleagues right across Whitehall on the Greening Government ICT strategy back in, I think that would have been about 2010, 2011. And since then, I've gone down a route of specialising in data, developing things like the Open Data Charter, which is now used internationally, and data sharing legislation in the Digital Economy Act that was passed a few years ago, and most proudly helping with colleagues from other organisations start up the data science programme across government back in 2014-15. So where my role is based is in the digital data and technology function. So that's DDAT. And the role that the DDAT function plays is to help the rest of government attract, recruit and retain the skills and capabilities that we need to help government transform. And generally, when we talk about transformation, we mean transformation of public services, but also we're interested in helping use technology, digital and data products to help transform policy making as well across government. And the function's quite big, so there's over 15,000 people in it, ranging from kind of technical architects and developers through to data scientists and performance analysts, as well as people who are skilled at doing service design, user research, running and developing services and products in an agile way. So I think the last year has been a tough and a challenging one for everybody. Really, we've all had to adapt to very different ways of working. From DDAT, I think the way that we've contributed is probably in some ways and some unseen ways. So the fact that we are able to work fairly effectively remotely will be down to people in and around organisations who have helped to make that happen, helped that systems can kind of function properly wherever people are working, and also the fact that we're all now much more well versed in having meetings remotely as well, and some of the different platforms that we're able to use for that. So I think there's been a lot of support around helping the rest of government adapt to ways of working. The second area that I think we've had to adapt as a function, and I've had to adapt personally, has been the speed at which we've needed to spin up new services and products, supporting people initially who were shielding, but also making sure that information on things like gov.uk is absolutely up to date for citizens, so they know exactly what they can and can't be doing at certain points in time. And there've been some big changes and expectations that have been raised as part of that spinning up so quickly of services and information that I think present a real opportunity for the analysis function, because I can see that ministers and senior leaders and decision makers in departments are now recognising the value of data and recognising the value of good analysis. And I think there's a real opportunity across all of the different professions that make up the analysis function to really keep that momentum going. And from a DDAT perspective, the opportunity and the challenge for us is making sure that we're setting all of those policies, all of the standards that really enable that to happen. I would encourage anybody to think about pursuing part of their career in the DDAT profession. So for anybody who is an analyst, we do have roles built within the job family that we manage as part of DDAT. At the moment, they're mainly data scientist and performance analyst roles, but we are looking at what are the data intensive roles we need to help with that transformation of government services and policies. The other thing that I'd encourage from a DDAT perspective is also the different ways of working. So people in DDAT roles will typically work alongside a multidisciplinary team and will typically work in different ways. So predominantly thinking about agile ways of working. So it would be, I think, a really great experience for anybody who's wanting to work in a slightly different way. And most of our roles are advertised openly. We have a thriving data science community and a performance analyst community where you can come and find out more about the kinds of roles that there are in DDAT. So we run a number of communities. The main one is the data science community that we run in partnership with the Office for National Statistics, but we also have other communities for performance analysts, as well as the main data science community. And that community has, I think, over 2,000 active members now. And it's a great way to share best practice and share some of the challenges that you might be having, and a great way to learn. Beyond the data science community itself, we also run a data science accelerator program, which is a mentoring program open to anybody in the public sector. Just apply with a great project idea and some things that you want to learn to help develop some new skills, and experiment with some new tools and techniques. The other thing that I'd point you towards, which is happening over the next month or two, is a new civil service data challenge that's been sponsored by a couple of ministers in Cabinet Office and the Permanent Secretary, Alex Chisholm. And this is an opportunity to come up with ideas of where data and analysis might be used more creatively. And the best ideas that come forward over the next month or so will be supported, and the winning idea will help to be developed further. So I'd encourage you to look out for that and look at that as an opportunity for collaboration. Outside work, I enjoy going to the theatre, the cinema, and I love travelling. But in the last year, that's all been curtailed for me, as it has been for everybody else. One of the other things that I love doing is getting out in the great outdoors. And I've been lucky that I live on the edge of a fairly nice sized forest. So that activity hasn't been curtailed too much. So outside work, I like to try and get outside and go walking and enjoy nature.